Morning, everyone. Alright, so I had one last rock star sitting at the house. I'm trying to remember who it was. Someone said I should try just drinking water for a week. So I'm gonna try doing that once this is done. I'm sitting there, so I was like, alright. Uh, I need to make a U-turn right here. Good morning. So I'm doing a little bit of practice what I preached this morning. So I was hoping to get up earlier and get out and everything, but I still haven't heard about that job, so just waiting for whatever happens. That big job with Duncan. Practice what I preach, right? I woke up, saw that I got a email from TaskRabbit. I'm going to be making a pretty thorough video about all of this, but basically what they told me, just to give you guys like the rundown. Be careful about what? Basically what TaskRabbit told me, which not surprising, is it's like, oh, we advise that you seek medical attention. And that was it. Seek medical attention and make sure that whoever provides your insurance covers it. It's literally what they said. Which is fine, because that's kind of what I expected, but that's the process I expected. But what do you mean by be careful? Robert, what do you mean? Like, specify, please. Yeah, that's what I expected from them, but at the bare minimum. But at the same time, I was hoping that they had more of a procedure in place when something like this would happen. So I gotta email them back, and because I am curious. I mean, well, what happens? I mean, are you gonna allow some other person to go over to this client's house? I mean, a lot of these gig economy companies, you know, these platforms, they do hold the client up to such a high degree, you know, and as far as the technicians, they kind of brush us under the side. I mean, when it comes to a complaint, when it comes to, you know, an issue with money or what have you, they are very quick to side time and time again with the client, as opposed to ever even caring about the safety and well-being of the technician. Because at the end of the day, the client's their bread and butter. That's how they make their money. The technician, it's easy to just kind of brush them aside. Now, there is something that has always been on my mind, and I should probably reach out to. There's another YouTuber I've had correspondence with in the past, but I should probably actually speak with him about this, because it's been something that's been on my mind for a while, but I don't think I've talked about it enough on the channel. When it comes to the gig economy, being an independent contractor, a lot of these platforms, they don't seem to understand what an independent contractor is. So with let's take a look at like TaskRabbit, for example, right? Let's take a look at Uber, Postmates, all that jazz. If there's a throttling on your account of your ability to be able to get work based upon acceptance metrics that goes against being an independent contractor. Essentially, the company is punishing you. TaskRabbit, prime example. If your acceptance rating is low, you know, like, oh, I'm not accepting a whole lot of jobs for one reason or another, either it's miscategorized or you just don't want to do it, that inherently goes completely 110% against being an independent contractor. When you're an independent contractor, you're allowed to pick and choose. Rabbit dog. Well, we're gonna go find out. Hopefully they don't send me up north. If they send me up north, it's gonna be a long day. But we'll see. But so TaskRabbit's like, they're not really gonna do anything about this dog bite thing. They're just gonna kind of like push it to the side and ignore it. So, but I do want some follow through. I'm gonna document everything. I'm gonna reach out and be like, hey, what's going on with this, you know? And oh, I'm gonna get better. Don't worry. I'm a pretty tough dude, right? But like I said, this is what I talk about on my channel. You gotta protect yourself when you're doing this line of work. And it kind of makes me think TaskRabbit's like, you know, their very uncaring reaction kind of pisses me off. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, we want you to go get medical attention and make sure that you cover it. It's like, that's literally what the email said. It's like, it's basically in so many words, they're saying, hey, we're hands off. Like, you got bit, we're sorry about that. Go get that taken care of. That's it. Okay. So, I mean, God forbid, let's say the dog is rabid, right? Let's say the dog doesn't have its shots up to date. Let's say that it's infected or something, right? Then, you know, then that entire thing is on me. What about, you know, and that kind of follows suit with the whole independent contractor thing. By having acceptance-based metrics, the insurance covers the cost of the doctor. So what I mean by that is, what they're saying is they want to make sure that my insurance provider, whoever takes care of my medical, will cover the cost of the doctor appointment. Which in a situation like this, because it's work-related, they typically will not. When it's an independent contractor thing, it's a little different. So typically when you're, you know, contracted to work with someone or something, you have to have some form of liability insurance. TaskRabbit has they refer to it's the COI and the happiness pledge. But that kind of is more so just for clients. It's not like a traditional liability coverage. But in no shape, way, and or form on the sign-up process to be a tasker does it ever state that you need liability coverage on your end. Which is kind of a big no-go. Oh, gotcha. The clinic should be up here, so fortunately I'm going to the VA, so everything will be covered through them. But you know, I gotta document everything. It's like I woke up this morning like, oh man, maybe I should just forget about it. Maybe I should just try to like walk it off and everything. And then I got that email and I'm like, screw that, dude. What am I thinking? Everything that I preach, everything I talk about is protecting yourself in the gig economy. You know, and you gotta protect yourself because these companies will do everything that they can to screw you over. So I'm going here. I'm doing the wait. I'm going through the motions. Excuse me. I'm making sure that, you know, I have everything lined up on my end. So, I mean, yeah, it is a very important thing. The idea of making sure all your ducks are lined up, you know? And like I said, there's a good chance they could shoo me away and tell me to go, that I have to go to the hospital up north. This is one of the smaller clinics. I mean, I would hope they would have someone to just take a look at it and kind of give me an opinion. Because that's really all I need. I need some sort of documentation stating that, hey, I have gone to the doctor, they did check me out. Kind of thing. So it's basically the only reason why I'm coming here. It's just purely for the documentation. I'll go in just a second. I kind of want to sit down and chit chat with you guys. It's early. I got time to kill. So anyway, yeah, right. Yeah, so it happened yesterday. Yeah. So what happened was, long story short, I was at a job. The client's dog was like all over the place, wouldn't leave me alone. I was there for like 2 hours. And so the dog just, as I was moving pieces of furniture, the dog came over and bit me. And it's like, you would think that after a while the owner would put the dog out or something. They would move the dog aside. But no, they're like, oh no, the dog's just a year old and it's still like a puppy or whatever. So, and they just let it just run wild and do its thing. And it's like, your dog's barking at me. Your dog's like constantly like up on me. And then finally your dog bit me. And at first they were apologetic, but then as soon as I told them I had to, I contacted support and support told me I had to leave, they cared less about, it's the client. So of course they're not going to care about the guy that's just doing work in their house. So the client cared less about the dog biting me and started downplaying it. And they're like, oh, well, when can you finish all of our stuff? And I'm like, well, that's up to TaskRabbit. They're going to do like an internal investigation, so I got to go. And it's not like I provoked the dog or anything. I was literally just walking around the house. It's like I kept my distance. Like I wasn't like going like towards it or anything. The dog just kept coming after me. But I want to stress this for anyone watching in the future. And I'm gonna be making a video about this whole process just so you guys are aware. So it's archived, it's out there. Well, that's kind of how I'm gonna proceed moving forward. Usually I'm pretty good with dogs, but it's like, I guess from now on I'm gonna be like, hey, is there anything you can do about the dog? Because I've had clients' dogs bite me in the past, and I just don't want to kind of go through that again. So anyway, yeah, so my thing, it's like a lot of these companies dance the fine line between upholding the independent contractor relationship and traditional employment. TaskRabbit, they try to act as lead generation and a payment threshold, but because of their algorithm, and that's these stupid tech companies, that's what's screwing them over, because they're like, oh, based upon this algorithm, this, that, and the other, and that's how we'll maximize the money that we get, and it's all this crap. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, because of your algorithm and how it dictates whether or not people are even able to get work, you're kind of unintentionally following suit into traditional employment. It's like, by having an algorithm that, based upon people's percentages, dictates whether or not they receive any kind of leads, any kind of jobs, it lowers the ability for us to be successful on our own, which is the whole premise of being an independent contractor on these platforms. So by going out of your way to throttle our ability to get work, you are inherently making us employees. And then also, in that same vein, if that's the fact, then something like workers' compensation would be like a mandatory thing that they would have. So anyway, I better get in there. Oh yeah, I'll leave it open real quick just for another couple questions, if you guys have any before I go. So I'm just chilling. right now. So the plan is, I got a few people I gotta talk to today. So yeah, I'll be back on. And kind of I'll let you guys know as things go. But as always, you're so glorious and beloved. Mace Fowler, still kicking. Signing off.